I think hope you will enjoy. I plan to do like this. First of all, give you the topic was given knowing Saint Ignatius and knowing ourselves will lead us to a fuller life. So that is the topic. So certain amount of knowing will comprise of two types. Informative knowing, informative knowledge. There is also, I will lead you into a transformative knowledge. That will help you also to have a fuller life, and also being the teacher. And you have a wonderful and very important for the principal. Could the teachers come with a pen and some papers? If time permits, last 15 minutes, I will give you this, carry home some tools to work with for you, as well as it can help the students wherever you are. So first we go to the reflections, and this is the book which was brought about in commemoration of 25 years in the Society of Jesus. It's a book in Gujarati, Satvaro Maranatno, that is companionship with the Lord. It is how a family man, a soldier, became a family, the world family man. From the family where he was born to how he became a saint. A simple booklet, it is in Gujarati, it was made in 17 years ago, and our parish priest here, Loyola Hall, once again reprinted it 2 years ago, the same one, for the celebration of St. Ignatius' feast in this parish. So the books are available, booklet, in Gujarati form. As a result, I would speak this occasion in English, so that there is nothing written in English by me. So this is an opportunity to present to you in English. I will try to speak in simple language, and I don't know much English also. So, so it will be very comforting to know about Ignatius. And also I was wondering, most of you, I think, non-Christians, no? How many non-Christians are here? Oh, it is more than 60%. Okay, 80, almost 80% non-Christians. So many of you, why they have to take interest in knowing Saint Ignatius, a fellow from Spain, and that also another religion. What he has to offer to us? We have a rich tradition, we have rich culture, and we have rich philosophy. What we need to learn from him? I was wondering, to people to make sense, first of all, does he make any sense to me? Because I also bear the name of Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj is another name added at the time of baptism as a remembrance of a soldier from my village who participated in the freedom movement and went to north and never returned back. And so that time, my mother was working in the convent. That sister's brother name was Dharmaraj. So she insisted that Dharmaraj's name to be added. So that's why my name is Lawrence Dharmaraj, as a remembrance of a person who worked for the freedom of India and went to North, never returned. So at the age of 16, I also came to North, never returned back. So that is a little introduction of knowing Ignatius, and also side by side I will lead you also how to know yourself also. So a Spaniard with rich tradition, what he has to offer? Our traditions, and we have fought for freedom, we fought for fullness of life, both as nation, as people. So what he has to offer, what new thing he has to offer? We have also in Gujarat, we have rich culture of Narsi Mehta, Akko, Dayara, and we have also Mirabai, a lot of literature, and we have studied, and we have also studied Gita, and so much rich tradition. Is there anything similarity? Is there anything that they have to offer something new? So on that line, we need to reflect, because saints whatever the religion they belong to a different family, a united family, whether Dayaram, Mirabai, Akho, or Narsi Mehta, or Gandhiji, also we call him saint, or Nelson Mandela, or Martin Luther King, or people who fought anywhere in the world, all the saints of even Kabir, Kabir and so many others, even other religions, all of them fall in the another family altogether. They have a certain heritage, certain nutrition, not only for our body, for our spirit, to a life they have to offer. So on that basis, the Cannonball moment is an important event in the life of an ordinary man. He was not a priest, he was not even a faithful Catholic too. He was a soldier, ordinary man. How he gained that status of becoming that familyhood of the world, a saint, no? And he has to offer a plenty for us. And also the Cannonball moment is not only for him, and we are also going through. Because Cannonball moment in Ignatius' life started and it lasted about 1.5 years to reach that first enlightenment. So what has happened in that 1.5 years? The same way we have also had or having Cannonball moment. What is it, you know? What is that Cannonball moment for us? The corona also is like that ball, no? At least Ignatius had visible ball hitting him and shattering his life purposes, his dreams, and his aspirations. But we have been, from last 1.5 years, being that ball is hitting us. Still, we are also in the Cannonball moment. So we have a similarity. How he took that shattering experience and how he reached the sainthood, and he is also inviting each one of us. You are also in the Cannonball moment, and you are not out of it. And you can also reach that sainthood, that you can belong to that family. Family of Dayara, family of Mirabai, family of Akho, family of Kabir. You can also become, you can also contribute to the lasting peace in the world today. So, when Ignatius was facing as a soldier, ordinary man, the cannonball hit, it was a war-like situation. No, it was a war. And the same thing today for us. Last 1.5 years, it's like a war-like situation. And war creates fear among the people. And it destroys, and what we want to do, we cannot. And we go through a lot of pain and a lot of depression. And the fear mind also invites us to go for fight, flight, or freeze. When fear is created, the whole energy, the whole system, the blood, and everything is geared to run to the legs, to the hands, and in order to fight or to flight, run away, in the war-like situation. And Ignatius also used that energy in that war-like situation. He wanted to fight, And we also, during the time of pandemic, and we are all in it, those who are alive, still we are giving that fight. We are in the fighting mode. And in the initial stage of pandemic, many took to flight. The first wave of pandemic brought to us that flight experience. Many died of starvation, walking, dehydration, and many died more than the fight experience. And that's what it is my opinion. It was not recorded, but many poor people died on the way because of the flight. And many people died because of freezing. They do not know what to do. They are frozen in their homes. There was no help because it was new to everyone. So that is the experience. We all had it. And Ignatius had it. How he handled it, and how we need to handle it, how we can learn from him, and how we can also transform our situation or like situations. That understanding in such situations of fear, we get into the mode of flight, freeze, or flight. So this gives us the understanding. This flight, freeze, and fight removes us from the normal self. No? And we are so much activated, and when we are in that mode for a long time, our immunity goes down. When fear is more, the immunity goes down. No? And when we are fully engaged in fear and flight, there is no place for rationality, there is no place for other element of noble values to be really to be operated in our system, because this fight mode occupies everything. You know? And that cannonball moment, also the second stage in Ignatius' life, led him to convalescence mode. Convalescence means you're forced to relax, you're forced to confine, you're forced to spend time with oneself alone, with your family. No? And the Corona COVID moment, last 1.5 years, forced us to be in our homes, to be with our near and dear ones, and to sort of convalesce. Convalesce means to take care of ourselves, our bodies, our nourishment. And Ignatius was very, fortunate enough to have a sister-in-law, that is his eldest brother, Martin's wife, Magdalene, was like mother, because he was the youngest in the family, and the eldest brother was Martin, and when he was young, both father and mother died, so she took care of him well. So when the convalescing time, she took the total care of him, and right food, giving the right food, and being a soldier, rough man, he would be yelling, he would be shouting, but she took care of him. As a result, this convalescent period took about 2 to 3 months. For us, the convalescence period is still going on, but Principal Sahib has got short. We are calling you all to come back. The second element is convalescence, and we sort of keep our immune system healthy, and we also take care of not only our own bodies, but also time to spend time in prayer, spend time in reflecting over life. Same thing might have happened, all of us during the pandemic. A lot of time the fear also gave us. The only rescue is God. No medicine is working, and the vaccine came also quite late, and it was the only recourse is God. I'm sure all of you must have during this time intensely prayed. It was an opportune moment. Never before in your life you might have prayed like that. No? So it is an opportune time to introspect, to reflect, and to find the meaning of what is all this, why it is happening, and what is life after all. And now this corona made us, it had no boundaries, no nationalities, no caste system, no religion. Everybody became equal, no rich, no poor, and it brought everybody to our knees before our Creator, and that was the experience of Saint Ignatius. His dream of becoming a wonderful soldier and becoming a wonderful person, making a name, making an importance in the society of his time, all that were shattered, and with his leg broken and never to be repaired like that again. He could never become a soldier again. And he had to find, through the reflection, he becomes aware of his true identity, who he is, and what is happening to him, and what God wants of him. And he also able to think, to reflect over what is happening in me, why I feel angry, why I feel depressed, why I feel sad. And there are times he felt so lonely and void in his life. during this convalescent time. The same thing in the pandemic time also we must have gone through, especially when people lost the near and dear ones. When the people lost only the breadwinner in the family gone away, and that time we question a lot, why it is happening to me? Why? We have not done anything, and why we cannot understand. And we go through that period, and that brings us closer to God and closer to our own self. And Ignatius was going through. That is the time of third level of knowing is Ignatius was trying to understand, trying to observe himself, his own feelings, the emotions nothing but energy moving. Some energies are moving towards something, some energies are destroying him. He was able to see that course of energy movement, that he calls it discernment. And also to while away his time, he asked for, he wanted to educate himself. During the time of pandemic also, all of us through offline or online, the education must go on, and resourcing our own intellect, our rationality must go on, and that is a great help. That was the time, convalescence time. Ignatius too was going on. He took up to novels, but it was not available. Finally, though he was not interested, the religious books were given, saints' books, and the Imitation of Christ was given to him. Reading, first he didn't look at it only, he didn't want to. Then finally, because of loneliness, how long can sister-in-law be up at his service? He has to lie down. And finally, reluctantly open. Then a new chapter in his life opened. His eyes were open. It's not only what I plan is the only way in life. It's not what I plan is the plan of God. But if we spend time in prayer and surrender ourselves, if there is a closed door, there is a new door open, much wider, much gracious one is opening. And he found that door in the forms of saints, in the forms of lives of saints. Then he started reflecting. If these people, they were so raw like me, and can become and contribute, like Francis of Assisi or Dominic, they brought such a revolution in their church, and why can't I? See, he started questioning. So when he started questioning, then he found a new door. So for us in pandemic also, the third level of praying with the Lord, surrendering ourselves, our families, our near and dear ones, and so many prayers were also being held, And when we do that, a new door, new opportunity we see in our lives, as Ignatius saw. So that is the third dimensions of knowing Ignatius' Cannonball moment, and also comparing and bringing our lives together. And we have this opportunity, and still we have, surrendering ourselves and finding new doors, new ways. And certainly this new ways of online. So many of you before the corona event, pandemic, we only knew the minimum use of mobile. Now you all have become the experts. How to be online, how to operate, and you have gained an immense knowledge without even doing a IT course, right? See, all of you. So it is a wonderful opportunity. If the corona was not there, you would not have updated your resource self. It's a wonderful opportunity. And with that online going on, you reach out to the place where nobody can reach. And also you reach out to the place at any time at our will can reach. It is there available. Once it is put on the YouTube, people can go back and look at it and reread it. So it opened a new door. You have also discovered. That is the dynamics of the Cannonball moment. That is the dynamics of the Corona, COVID moment in your life. So there is a parallel going on. So when you know Ignatius, the dynamism that in which he went, and parallelly, we also see we are also traveling. And only thing what we need to reach that enlightenment,
If only we wish. How many of you wish you want to reach that enlightenment phase? Oh God. People are not raising. People are not raising their hands. Because we think enlightened moment means you have to go and stand on one leg for 1 year. Or you have to go and to the mountain top and disappear. Enlightenment, we have that idea. Huh? Yeah, enlightened means is something different, fuller life. Enlightened means fullness of life. How many of you want the fullness of life? Raise your hand. Oh God, now everybody. Okay. So this is also what thinking like that. I want to be a saint. That time, besides these people, even Francis and all, they were like princes, and they gave up their robes and their kingdom. They went into the forest. Then after they realized, oh, have I to go to the forest like that? Then he started questioning, like you are questioning, no? Right now, enlightenment with Maribia. Now we have to leave our families and children and where to go now? Huh? So he also had that similar question in his life. Then he understood, he observed. So we saw the warlike moment, then there is a moment of convalescence, there is a moment of education updating, there is a moment of prayer and prayerful, that prayerful reading and reflection led him to the period of enlightening his mind. He questioned, okay, is that the life? Is that the way of living our enlightenment moment, our fullness of life? Is the fullness of life doesn't mean renounce the world and go into the forest and get into the cave? Is that fullness of life is relevant today? He was asking. No, it is not. So he thought he wanted to really find out what is that fullness of life? What is that enlightenment? So he took a pilgrimage. So let me go for a pilgrimage and spend some time and surrender myself, and few days I spent and I will get enlightenment. No? So that's what all of us also would, when you are fully, you want to have a journey of darshan to, what is that place? Badrinath, to Tirupati. So take a pilgrimage and go and come. But Corona time, we cannot even do that. But pilgrimage can be done within the house, going around. No? That can be done. So he did, and he went, and instead of staying in for a few months, he took him about 1 full year. And he started noting down everything. I'm just checking because I want to give that 15 minutes later for you. So that it became 1 full year, almost a year. And he started putting everything in writing. When you put things in writing, there is a clarity coming in. So when he started putting things in writing, and also while he said, I'm doing the same thing like Francis did, Assisi did. He did. Enlightenment means you have to get out of the place and get into the forest. Now I am also doing the similar thing. But he continued, he modified. So during the time of prayer, he would go out to help out the poor, reach out to the needy. And he would also take up like a beggar, like ordinary people who are suffering. Let me be an ordinary person on the road who are suffering. So he had no cook, he had nobody to provide meal. The only meal is he would stay in the cave, and whenever he felt hungry, he would take a bowl and go and ask. And that also he made a hole on the off the level, so that he doesn't, because of the hungry, he doesn't accumulate more than what is required. No, it would automatically fall off from that bowl. So he begged, and he wanted to become an ordinary person on the road and to live a life and to find out what is that enlightenment. Is it enlightenment is reserved for holy people, reserved for educated, reserved for people who are well versed in scriptures? Is it? No. This enlightenment should be of everyone who is born on this earth. The disprivileged, the poor on the road, they should also have the enlightenment. So he took up that way of life, and as a result, he was reaching out to the poor. And during the pandemic also, when we prayed and we wanted a different kind of enlightenment in our lives, we also in some way reached out to people. And we see in the communities, the sweepers came out from their comfort zones, and they came out, people on the streets, they came to clean the houses. And first time they were greeted, as we all greeted with a bouquet. When the sweepers came out during the pandemic time, we greeted them, garlanded them through flowers, and we appreciated their generous outreach initiative. This pandemic pushed those people on the streets to the enlightened state. So we have not only people on the streets and the police force, or the people in the hospitals, nurses, and so many people risked their life and they came out of their comfort zone. And ordinary people working for their livelihood became enlightened, became the saintly people. Also, I also saw last year some of you from Loyola Hall St. Xavier's reached out to the poor people. You sent kits, kits of ration kit, medical kit, and so many. And I remember in our province, and every parishes, every institutions are asked to minimize their expenditure and pool their money, reach out to the poor, irrespective of caste, creed, and religion, reach out to the people of the unreached. This pandemic forced us, and I am in the house of Premal Jyoti. The scholastics are there, about 40 of them from different provinces. They are there, and during the Christmas time, usually we buy gifts. He said this time we will not have gifts, and that money we will pool them. And Father, you also from the institution give us, and we will reach out from our scholastics brothers body. We reach out to the people, and they collected, and they reached out to 20 families during the first wave time, and they went out from people from Istimor, we have people from international community, and people from Nagaland, people from Rajasthan, people from Bengal, brothers are from there, and they all came together, pooled what they could, really enjoy, pooled their money together, and they went and helped people on the outskirts of Ahmedabad, 20 different families, provision kits, the provision needed for their daily living. So it is forced us. Otherwise, we usually used to think about celebration means, okay, buying new clothes, celebration means having good meal, celebration means whatever you need. But this Cannonball moment has pushed Ignatius to reach out to the margins and to assume the margin on the street. The same way the Cannonball, the COVID-19 moment pushed each one of us. Some of us may not have reached to the streets. Some of us through institutions reached out to the people in need, but many of us reached in our own families, in our own family circle. Because when Corona comes in, initially, people were all frightened. They would not even go near. But in the families, people took risk, and they were serving, and they were challenged their comfort zones. So that is the type of fullness of life, enlightenment, that saint on the street moment that we all of us been given that opportunity, and we have tasted it. And still we have to go one more step, enlightenment, which we were scared of. Enlightenment is living home and the wealth and what we have known go to the unknown. It is not that. Enlightenment means it is recognizing God within. That is the true identity. So that came to him as he was in the cave, doing these practices of charity, praying intensely, and as he was sitting, but he was going through also that laws, the psychologist would say, this is not a one-day event. No? When you are shattered, your dreams are shattered, both physically and spiritually. It takes time. And they say you go through 5 stages. And Ignatius' time, there was not a psychologist, nobody to help him out, but he went through Dhamma on his own. God was with him to reach that enlightenment. But we have people, been qualified people among us, and there were online courses available, or in the TVs also we know how to take care of ourselves, how to counsel ourselves, how to console ourselves. They go through 5 stages. First is denial, second is anger, when you are shattered, your own dreams and your own, when you are met with losses. Then you are at the bargaining period, then comes sadness, then comes acceptance. Then when that acceptance hits, then you become enlightened. So he goes through all 5. A few months ago, a person, 75 years old, PhD professor, Annie, she contacted me because she was staying with her husband. He died, and she was in a depression. She came to know through fathers that she wanted some help. So then, since educated PhD, she's a professor in a college. She's still at the age of 75, but because of the loss of her husband, she stopped working, and she was confined to her own place. Then she needed help to get out of that depression. So when I heard that she is already in the depression, I know she has gone through all those phases. She has come down to the 4th level, that sadness and depression. So it is very easy because she is a PhD doctor, and easily can be. So within 2 or 3 sittings through online, and she was out of it. She was out of it, and she was ready to go on again and assume her professorship in the college there where she was working, and she was very happy. And some of us who have the benefits of counselors or directors, it is easy to go forward. But Ignatius struggled for 1 year. Most of us, commoners, struggle through, because these 5 stages, one stage for 1 week, or the second stage for 3 weeks, nothing like that. You may go through, if you are not gone through properly, you may reach the 4th stage, go back once again. Because it is a loop, it will get stuck up. Unless each stage is being properly handled and accepted, you will not move to the other stage. Even if you go, if half-heartedly attended, you will go back. So it will take time. Some enlightened people or gifted people naturally, they go through all those 4 stages within short time, and they are out of it, and they are once again normal and fully alive. But Ignatius wasn't. He wanted to commit suicide. After doing all that, after praying all that, after helping people, because the reflection over his life, what am I here for? What I have done in my life? Who am I? Those questions was tormenting him. In our religion, we go for confession, everything is over. He went several times, but the thought would not go. Each time the thought used to come, he said, it is I who have done that. Because he was a rough soldier earlier, all those sinful life was at his, and he was struggling. Then in that struggle, many of us also may struggle in our lives. When we look out not only the sins, but also the missed opportunities. When we look back, if only suppose somebody died in the family due to corona, we question ourselves, maybe I have not done enough. Maybe if I had done this, that person would have been alive. So the guilt comes, you blame yourself, you condemn yourself, and you get into depression. And you think, why God has to do, we have never done anything wrong. We are upright family, and we are outreaching family. We are more than that, we are faithful and religious family. Why it has to happen? So that questioning, and I am left alone, I am abandoned, I am nobody. When such experiences hit you, like Ignatius, though you prayed well, you feel like life is not worth it. Life is not, it's a waste. It's better to end. He was going through. As he was going through, since somehow God has helped him, as he stood near as he was sitting down near the Cannonball river near the mountain, a small river. As he was sitting there, then new wisdom, new understanding came into him all of a sudden. That particular passage that I will read from my manuscript, so that still 5 minutes more, so that we have 15 minutes for you carry home something. When he was summing up this period of his life in 1553, you know, this Cannonball moment is 1551, and the coroner experience was 1552, no? More than 1.5 years. And now he is recalling in 1553. So almost how many years? 30 years. After 30 years, meanwhile, you know, he joined like me. He joined. He created an order. He got diksha, and he got a lot of theology studies and so many experiences. And established a big network of reaching out programs. So that time he was asked to write his life experiences because he was sickly. So the disciples asked him, "Could you give us so that we also be enlightened and reflecting your life, the way you went through, we are boosted?" But he was tormented. This may be, and by telling my story, I am only once again entering into vain glory. Vain glory means making a name for myself, making importance on myself. Because he realized the true identity of himself. True identity is of not only human, but he is also divine. That is the experience that he got in for then. And he writes up to this 31 years of age, he was a man given over to the vanities of the world and took a special delight in the exercise of weapons. With great vain desire was winning glory. So that was a man with that experience when he looked into, when he saw at the coroner a new understanding came, a new understanding dawned on him. And he saw everything just falling in place, a true acceptance period coming in his life. And the true acceptance in the form of enlightenment. He also got a deep understanding of how God created the world. How God created. God not only created him, God created everything. The very stream, everything. He was only focused on himself. And he was able to see the poor, the other created things on the earth, all are coming, all are created by God. If God created means the things are supposed to be good. And why am I blaming myself? I'm not good. I am created by God. And basically, my truth, at the essence, at the core of it, I am at any given moment, if it is created by God, if I am come from God, if I am the spark of God, then I am basically a good, dawning enlightenment. This happened by the river Coroner. Ignatius said in 1553, when he looked back to this day in 1552, that by this illumination, he learned in all the rest of his life put together. He is writing after 30 years, all the 30 years what he has learned is much more on that particular day of enlightenment. This great illumination at Cardinal made him a new man. So we also may go through that type of a wide question in our lives. In the pandemic, we also question about so many things. Sometimes we go through sadness, sometimes we go through loss of vision, loss of usefulness, or even sometimes when the old age hits us, also we do not know, then what? What is life after all? Is it only eating and just living? What is more? We fail to recognize we are not the masters. We are created by God. Master is there. And we need to connect to that master. We need to surrender to that master. And when we surrender, we accept. Basically, we are God's creation. Not only we, myself individually, the creation, the other people, whatever nationality they belong, whatever religion they belong, whatever caste, creed, code they may exercise, they all all come from the Creator. So this enlightenment was much more, he said, of all the training, all the scripture could never give, the life taught him. The Cannonball moment taught him. So that's why when we are open to reflection, when we are open to our own sufferings and our own questioning, we would be hit with precious enlightenment. You know, that enlightenment, we may not get it through rituals, we may not get it through scriptures, we may not get through, but life will give us. Because in the life there is a creator residing and sitting there in the so the Hindu tradition may call it, Atman or self, or the Buddhists may say Buddha realization, or Ignatius will call it enlightenment. No, nothing but basically accepting our true identity. The other identity may ask, what is the other identity? Other identities are provisional identity, our nationality, our religion, our name. I was boasting about my name, no? These are all provisional for Kam Chalao Mat. Right? For provisional identity, we don't need to take it too seriously. No? And what we need to take seriously is we are created by God and we are given life, and through our rationality given the freedom to use, to accept, to really, like the mobile phone, we use it to our maximum when we do not know ourselves. Before the pandemic, we used the minimum of it. Its potential was much bigger. So when you know how to do and how to maximize the usage of it, you see a different world is open to you. In the same way, it is a living mobile. Antenna is towards God when it is open, when you know, when you reflect, when you share, when you come for this type of talks and reflect over life about all these things, then your connection is renewed and you hit that life that is enlightenment, there is clarity, there is peace, there is serenity, there is appreciation of life, who you are, and it is, if it is you are a male, if you are a female, it is God's choice, not your choice. That makes me good. Some people think, no, if I had been in my family male, I would have been appreciated. Or if I had been a girl, I would have been appreciated. If. So many ifs would come. We refuse to go through that acceptance and surrender. Ignatius did that surrender, acceptance of his true identity. He found that enlightenment. And that after 30 years of that enlightenment, he said, whatever you learn is nothing. It cannot come to, incomparable to that experience. So, the same way, you may not have gone to the churches or mosques or temples during the pandemic, but when you reflect your life through the stages of war-like situation, convalescence, and after convalescence, there is a period of upgrading, educating, then conversion by reading religious books and reaching out to poor and reaching out of own self. Then comes the life teaches us what is life, and when you spend and reflect and we acknowledge and accept, we are all the divine residing in each one of us. Saint Irenaeus, second century saint, he said, the glory of God is fully human, fully alive. The glory and the praise and reverence of God is nothing but fully human, fully alive. You could become fully alive if you have this identity of your own, the permanent and true identity that you are all the image and likeness of God. You are a spark of God. You are the beloved of God. God of our love created you. Appreciate the life, own the life, and enhance the life of the others. Reach out to the others. That enlightenment will fill your heart with no wealth can fill you, with no degrees can fill you. But if you are able to reflect Ignatius, through short Cannonball moment, has given us this model, and we have all gone through. If only we take time to reflect and own that true identity, and you accept that others are professional identity, we use it as much as it helps, and we will not absolutize. And when you are that, you are a man or woman of the world family. That's why Narendra, our Honorable Prime Minister, when he went first time to USA, he said, in Tamil, he said, Tamil is one of the ancient languages, and it is said, he said it in Tamil, Yarum Ure Yabarum Keli. I don't know whether you have heard it. He said it first time when he went to USA. And also he said that is the same thing also Indian scriptures has put it, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning of Yarum Ure Yabarum Keli is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And the Christian tradition gives us, Jesus himself taught us, our Father. That is the only prayer we taught. That means the rest are all brothers and sisters. All of us are brothers and sisters. That is the only true identity. All are on the planet of the earth. We are all brothers and sisters. The present Pope is a Jesuit, belonged to this order created by Saint Ignatius. And he has recently come up with fraternally tutti, that is, we are all brothers and sisters. Wonderful. He again gives us this, being the Ignatian family, the dark cloud over the closed world because of the pandemic, and comes out with the conclusion, the urgency of the any body, whether it is a church or whether a religion, there's a NGOs or any group is there in order to serve the brotherhood and sisterhood of the world with dialogue, with collaboration. That is our true identity. You're a church member, you're a priest, you're a Hindu, you're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, you're a whoever you are. If you congregate together, our only mission is to serve the promotion of brotherhood and sisterhood of the world. And he concludes that. And that is the urgency of today. And in the pandemic, we need that support. We need that enlightenment. I'm happy all of you come over here to enlighten your mind. Hope this sharing has given you some spark, some starting point to reflect over your own pandemic situations and your own experiences, and reach that beautiful enlightenment that will enhance your life, and the people whom you would be educating also will be enlightened. Thank you for the opportunity. And we have about 10 minutes, and if you can spare 5 more minutes, then offline, this you don't record because it is an exercise that you will not regret, how that enlightenment can be operated in my disturbances, in my depression. A short exercise, you don't need to say, but I will read you. So if you write it down in your own verbal language, it will help you. Would you like to spend some time and